Hey, what's up, guys? Before I get into this, I've changed the name of the podcast from Hash Time with Coos Keenan to the Coos Keenan Podcast. Yeah. And before I get into this, um, me and Triston talked about his time at Colgate, his time at Papio South, where he played in the Shrine Bowl. We talked about what he's gonna do in the future, entrepreneurship wise. We actually did talk a lot about entrepreneurship. I think towards the end, I think we had a solid about 5 minutes talking about it. But yeah, we get into it. We get into his recruiting story at North Dakota State, which honestly I think is just hilarious. So yeah, guys, go ahead and make sure you stay through and listen to this whole podcast. It's a good one. Welcome back to the Coos Keenan podcast. Today we have a close friend of mine, Triston Fairchild, a running back at Colgate. He played running back at also Pap South. Triston, give me some things about yourself.
What's up? Yeah, I'm finishing up my degree right now in philosophy and educational studies at Colgate. So, and right now with COVID, we have to all come home, so that kind of sucks. So we're all home now doing nothing.
Made a long drive from New York. Man.
Yeah, 20 hours. Listened to a couple podcasts, so updated my my podcast knowledge, I think.
Jeepers, that is a long drive. I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah, super long. Took 2 days. Had to space it out.
So we're gonna start off with your high school days. You were kind of a, you could say a legend at Pap South. I mean, what you were like there when I was 10 years old?
Yeah, we were about 10 years old back then. We were good. I don't know if I'd say legend. I think we'd have to say legend status would be guys like Michael Burris, like running backs before me, Drew Klein, guys that were like kind of predecessors that made the running back position at Pap South like, I guess, important. And you see that tradition carried on. You know, it's not just me; it was the guys before me and the guys after me with Finest Hampton and like Cotton and just other guys after me that were kind of like running the show. So it's not really skipping a beat. I think the difference though between my teams and teams before and after us is we had every piece. We had guys like Luke Sellers at fullback and linebacker, Brian Erith from at tight end and defensive end. Those guys right now are training for the NFL. Those guys are getting ready for combines and getting ready for their big shot. So those guys were central pieces for us, blocking for me and doing that stuff. But yeah, I had success, but we had a crazy team around me. We had Josh Michigaya. He was a defensive back and wide receiver in my grade. Class 2016 was amazing. And we had linemen that were huge. I think we averaged over 270 across the board. So we went to the Final Four, which is the furthest we went. That was cool. But of course we lost to Prep because they're out here cheating. But
yeah, always Prep.
Yeah, and then I think we would have lost though in the championship. They had Omaha North that year. My junior year with Calvin Strong.
Didn't they have like a dynasty back then?
They did, and they had Calvin Strong. They had the best running back I think I've ever seen. His career didn't turn out to be what it could have been, but
he went to Nebraska, right?
He went to the University of South Dakota, and then I don't think he ever academically qualified. So.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to think. Was a kid from Bell West that went to Nebraska then?
Yeah,
Avery?
Jalen Bradley.
Okay, that's who.
Running back. So yeah, we had a lot of success in high school just because we had guys around me. We had one thing I think Papio South has is a great strength program. We have a guy up there that just.
Oh yeah, the weight room is huge.
Yeah,
the times I've seen it is humongous.
And they like our coach up there. He knows his stuff. He's not just a teacher or a PE coach. He's like a real dude. He owns his own gym and powerlifting team, and like he knows how to incorporate Olympic lifts with plyometrics and explosion and things like that. So he develops the athletes pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, as a senior, you had 1,400 yards in total offense, 17 touchdowns, and then for a career, you had 3,000 yards and almost 40 touchdowns. Set a couple program records with 234 points, 39 touchdowns, almost 600 rushing attempts, and 3,000 rushing yards.
Yeah, it was fun. It was definitely a lot of fun, and I tried to carry some of that through to college, and we had my college years were up and down, both personally and with our team. We had like a great year, and then we had a terrible year, and then kind of in between years. So, but yeah, high school was a good time to. It was cool to be like have that stardom status for a year and a half, 2 years, whatever, and kind of see how people react to you. And then it was cool to like kind of not have that the next year when I kind of starting over again, being like a small fish in a bigger pond. That was kind of cool too, because you realize that for instance, you get a little cocky. I got a little cocky, and that's something that I don't think I'll ever let myself do again in my life. So like if I ever succeed and do something well, I'm just gonna keep pushing harder. And it's not like I didn't do that. I definitely did that, but at times I think that people thought I was a little cocky, and obviously you don't want to be like that. So
Yeah.
when people tell you things, you let it get to your head sometimes, and I think that's just a good learning, like a tool. I can look back and my next success, which that'll come. I'm gonna be working hard, and my next whatever the next thing is, and my next successes aren't gonna be handled in that way. I'm not gonna ever let it change the way that I act. So, and I don't think I was bad. I just think here and there I'd let people tell me, the people that were telling me, oh, you're so great, blah blah blah. You let that get your head.
Yeah, obviously.
Time here and there. So I think that was cool, and it's just a learning experience. And it was a fun time in my life, I think.
I mean, yeah, some of the highlights I've seen, you're just running down the field. I think I watched a prep highlight of you. You just like knocked some guys off you, and then you went and like scored like a 60-yard touchdown or something like that.
Yeah, that was. I mean, like I said, I had guys on my team that were.
Oh yeah, the O line.
They would open the line. Once they open the hole, it's over. I mean, I was never like crazy fast, but I was quick enough to get up in the hole, and I was strong enough to break the tackle and go. And then we had, like I said, we had a crazy team around me, so we had guys that could get out and block down the field. We had a quarter. Some of my highlights you'll see quarterback or a fullback or someone 30, 40 yards downfield while I'm running, cutting across the field. They're blocking guys, and that's you watch the greatest runs of all time. I think the greatest run of all time is Marshawn Lynch's. When he breaks down the house and he makes the earthquake, the beast mode. That's where the beast mode was born. And so I think that run right there is you watch that and you see his quarterback 25 yards downfield throwing a block for him, and that run would not happen. Well, maybe it would because absolutely no one could tackle him. But things like that can't happen without your teammates running down the field and blocking for you. So when you have the ball, you get the credit, but the other guys are not to be too cliche, but it really is obviously a team game.
It is. And along with that year, your senior year, you went to the Shrine Bowl. Mm-hmm. What was that experience like?
Well, I think the coolest part about the Shrine Bowl is playing with guys that were elite. I went to there and I did really well, I thought. And I thought having fun. I had a lot of fun with the guys, but I think playing with...
Accidentally clicked the pause button. We're going to get back into it, though. So, continue. You're talking about Noah Fant.
Yeah, playing with guys like Noah Fant was cool because I actually had a good experience, too. Like, I trained with him, and I went on, 7-on-7s with him for Team Warren Academy, which, if you want to talk about training and developing athletes, later on, I think that I have a lot to say about him. He's Steve Warren's a guy that in Omaha... you see guys now getting ranked 3, 4, 5, even 5 stars that are from Omaha, Council Bluffs area, but because of him. But anyway, so yeah, playing with Noah Fant was crazy because we all kind of knew he was like the guy, and he's when you're 6'4", you're fast, you could catch. We knew he was going to go to the league, and obviously being from Omaha, guys don't get as much exposure, so he was a little under recruited for a while until Iowa offered him, and then he became a 4-star and had 20 plus offers.
Yeah.
So, but we all kind of knew he was a next-level guy, so I think playing with him in the Shrine Bowl on the same team was cool. It was a good experience because he was a first-round draft pick, as we know.
Yeah.
He's going to be the starter for the Broncos, which is my team, and he's going to be on the team for years to come, I think.
Oh,
so
for sure.
He's going to be a staple.
For sure. Along with that, there was a little trash-talking video. When I was looking up little clips of you, there was a trash-talking video. What was that like?
That was funny. It was all in good fun. I think we had a rivalry with some of the kids on the other team, and Noah and I were just kind of calling him out and saying that we were going to beat him, and we actually ended up losing that game. But I thought that both of us did pretty well in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that video. I was like, dude, this is funny.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
It was cool though to go to the Shrine Bowl and what that video was actually at was at a benefit for the kids in the Shriners Hospital. So all the kids were gathered around, and it was one of those lighthearted crap talking sessions. So it wasn't anything serious. So the kids were all involved, and we were getting the Shriners kids to kind of team up. We were taking some of them for our team, and they were taking them, and we were kind of making them just yell back and forth at each other, just funny insults, just to make them feel a part of the team. So I think that was cool, and I think that all the kids, they're gonna definitely remember that. They were young, so they're gonna.
So I know that at the Shrine Bowl, everyone from Nebraska plays, a bunch of teams. How many kids did you have? It was their first experience playing 11-on-11 football.
There's a few. There's a couple kids that were 8-man football guys. A few linemen, but the thing is, from 8-man football guys on the line, it's really no different.
It's no different. It's just adding 2 guys. It's
not much different. Yeah, and you get a lot of 8-man guys, the big old country boys out west that are ridiculously big.
Yeah, they're just farm boys. They're huge. Yeah.
You get Gavin Rush as one of the guys I know that plays out at Wyoming. One of my buddies that's from out there. He's a lineman, big. He's didn't play 8-man, but he's from out west. And then I know a big man, Johanna Gaifun. He went out and played at Wyoming. He's 6'7". So they definitely got some out west. They got some big guys out there.
Yeah, big guys out there. So another part, your uncle, or yes, uncle, correct,
Yeah.
was Ray Crockerton. He was
Ray
a
Crockett. Yep.
Ray Crockett. Okay.
Yeah.
He was a two-time Super Bowl winning team. What was that like?
Yeah.
Did he influence any
Yeah.
part of football
Like
for you?
I think for sure we used to visit Ray and the kids, like my cousins and my aunt. We used to visit them like once or twice a year when I was growing up. So like that going to his house was always like a cool experience because they live in one of those. It's like a gated mansion. You come in, it's got the fountain and the circle driveway and the indoor outdoor basketball court, indoor outdoor pool. They got the movie theater, the circle stairways in the house. Like you name it, they have it. 30-floor ceiling or 30-foot ceiling. So I think doing that like that inspired me to aspire for for more in life when it came to like just things and money and not that that's crazy important, but just to see that I developed a little bit of a taste and then but I think being around his kids and the family and just seeing how much football was kind of like he was a legend. He was an all-pro guy, played in the league for 14 years, so that definitely influenced me and drove me. But I think growing up I always wanted to be like my dad. Both my dads, I was adopted and I like know both my dads, my birth dad, and so I always wanted to be like tough like my birth dad because he fought, and then I wanted to be like my dad because he was like a hard worker and played football in high school. So I was I would always wear my dad's number 44, and then I would always try to play like my birth dad, which was like nasty and violent in football. So because he was a hockey guy, a hockey player, and was a fighter. So I think I always looked up to those two guys and my uncle Ray to see that success is possible. So that was always cool. I think it was definitely drove me more into the sport of football.
Yeah, so actually I forgot one part about your high school days. Paps, or not Paps South, Monarchs. I'm just going to call them Monarchs.
Yeah.
What was that rivalry like? Because the last time...
to be honest, it wasn't much of a rivalry when I was in school. Like,
it wasn't?
It was on the field, it wasn't. Off the field, it was more of a rivalry. Like, the fans made it more serious than it had to be because... not to be cocky, they just weren't even on our level. We beat them.
Oh, yeah.
I think that my junior, senior year, we beat them a combined score of, something like 90 or 100 to probably like 40 or 30.
Yeah.
So we definitely destroyed them, but I think it was a cool game for the community because everyone came together. There's about 10,000 fans that would come out. I've never played in front of that many people.
I think the time I went, I was in like first or second grade, and there was so many people.
There's
like tailgates outside. It was crazy.
Tailgates. We had a flyover. We had the jets fly over or the airplane. We had two guys parachute onto the field and give our coaches the game balls, and it was a big deal. And the fireworks or whatever, and running through the smoke when you're running out the banner and that type of stuff was pretty crazy. So I had a lot of fun in high school with that rivalry, but we were just a lot better. I think a closer rival for us was Millard North. We really rivaled Millard North, and for the junior year we actually beat them. They were undefeated. We beat them in the playoffs, and then our senior year they beat us our senior year. So it was kind of back and forth. Also, our junior year, we played them twice. We lost the first time and won the second time. So I think Millard North was more of our rival for sure.
Yeah, Millard North. Didn't they go to a state game?
Yeah, they went. I'm not exactly sure what year.
I think it was like 2013.
They
played like Omaha North.
Traditionally one of
Yeah, they played Millard or Omaha.
They're traditionally one of the best teams that you can have around here in the metro. They're always up there. The Millard North, Millard West, and Omaha North, West Side, Burke. Those schools are Bell West now. Those are the schools, if you will, that are just top notch. But I will say, if you had one school for Papillion, I think they would be dominant.
Pretty elite, yeah. I know some of the kids who play on Papillion now, and they're big guys. They're
but
pretty big guys.
I think with Papillion we split a lot of our talent that are growing up youth. But I think they're getting better at developing the youth league to where the kids play together for a long time, which is important. That's like what makes you have chemistry.
Yeah. So we're gonna get into Colgate now. You come in as a running back, and then you got injured your sophomore year, correct? Or was it your...
I think it was like my freshman year. I kind of did get plagued with injuries in my college career, which kind of sucks. But, that whole thing, like just like being the big fish in a small pond in high school, kind of getting the flip side of that and being the small fish in a big pond in college was nothing but good for me. I learned so much from it. I think it allowed me to explore other things that I do like, and not like take away from football, but it just let me know. It kind of let me realize that okay, I came here for academics and
Oh yeah, the academics there is just crazy.
yeah,
It's like
yeah, of course. It's like they consider themselves whatever junior Ivy or however.
junior Ivy.
And
Much.
so so the academics are crazy. So I was like, look, like what if football is gonna end in a few years, what do I want to do? Where do I want to be positioned in life? So I felt the the aspect with the most social mobility would be to go to a high academic school, and I had an opportunity to go to a couple Ivy League schools, but I thought Colgate in the Patriot League was probably just the best fit for me because they were so athletically competitive. We were top 8 in the nation in the FCS my junior year, but then they also have the emphasis on academics and a good alumni network that gets you jobs after. So.
Yeah, I mean, the alumni network. When you guys supposed to go on like some huge trip this year? And
we were supposed to. Well, yeah, we were supposed to go on spring break. That's not really with the alumni, but no, we were supposed to. We were supposed to have like a reunion weekend with alumni, kind of like networking. We always have that every year. Kind of had to cancel that. But yeah, thinking about the injuries you asked me about, I did have Tommy John surgery, which is rare.
Yeah,
with
the wrist.
You think of base, the elbow,
elbow
took
joint.
it took the ligament out the wrist, but it's like it's weird because you tell people that and they think you play baseball, but I actually did in football. I dislocated my elbow in the spring game. I caught the ball actually, and I won the spring game for my team, which was awesome. But the bittersweet part was when I got tackled, I put my arm down to stay up, and it just dislocated. So that was kind of the end of my left arm for a while. It still gives me issues, but I'm working on watching YouTube videos to get it back in order. That's got a nasty scar. I need to get a tattoo or something over it.
Oh jeez, that is nasty.
It's got you can see it, yeah.
You got like 2 little bumps, and then you got like a huge
screw.
Damn. So was it I believe it was your sophomore or junior year? You guys won the Patriot League
junior year. Yeah,
junior
we
year?
won junior and sophomore year. We both years, but junior year was like the really good year we had.
Yeah, because that was the year you guys went 12-0.
Yeah, we went something like that. It was like 10 or 11-0, and then we played Army at the end of the year, which was they were a top 25 FBS team at the time. And we, in my opinion, we should have beat them. We had a long play and a touchdown called back, and we ended up losing by like I don't know. I think it was like 24-14 or something, but it was 20-14 with 6 minutes left in the fourth, and we were driving about to score and go up 21-20, but had a play called back, a long play that would have put us at least in field goal range, and then later on our next drive we had a touchdown called back. And actually, who ran back that touchdown was a guy, Thomas Ives. His name's Thomas. He's from Hinsdale, which is in Chicago, but he plays for the Chicago Bears now. So he's a hometown kid. Last year was on the practice squad for the Bears. So we've had a couple kids that have been getting some good NFL looks. I got a buddy this year, Nick Wheeler. We call him Wheels. He just ran a 4.58 at 255.
Wow.
He's an outside linebacker / defensive end. Played the end. He had like 35 sacks in college, and
oh my god,
he has like our number 1 record. He's a 3-time All-American. So I think he's going to get a good shot at a mini camp invite this year. So we've had a few guys come out and have some good success.
Yeah, so I remember my mom told me you had a partial offer from North Dakota State. What was that like when you found out? Because back then they would have won like 2 or 3 straight national championships.
They won like 4. Yeah.
By the time you got
4 straight, and then they still even.
Yeah, even to
year,
I think they've won 9 of the last 8.
8 of the last 9. They're insane. They did offer me a little bit. That was cool. Took a visit up there, and actually, got my scholarship pulled by them. I call it because of the visit. And so what happened on the visit was crazy. I went on the visit, and I definitely wouldn't have committed to them over Colgate anyways. They didn't really offer me enough.
Yeah,
and especially for a state school like that. But one thing that was crazy that happened there is I went to a party, and I don't know. I met the team captain, big old D lineman guy, and I went upstairs, and they're showing me the party. I'm meeting people, just trying to be myself, say what's up. And they take me upstairs, and they're like, all right, this is the big guy, and he's sitting around a table, and there's a bunch of girls around the table, and there's drinks everywhere. And so I just started drinking a little bit, and he's like, he points me out, and my host says, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick, I'll be right back. So I'm sitting at the table alone and with them, and then he points at me, and he says, who the hell are you? And I'm like, I think he's kidding, because he said hi to my host, and he's like, what's up? So I'm like, oh yeah, what do you mean? I was like, what do you mean? Who are you? And I was just kind of messing with him. I was laughing. I just thought like we were just messing with each other. I thought for sure he knew who I was. Well, he didn't like that. He didn't take that very well. So he kind of got in my face, and was like threatening me, and I was like, well, I didn't know what to do, so I was just sitting there just kind of laughing, like, are you serious right now? And obviously, this guy's belligerent. I don't know if he even remembers it. He cocks his arm back as far as he can, slaps me dead ass across the face, hard as he can. And so I was so, like, I was a little drunk. I was so surprised that I just, like, I took it. I took it like a man. I took it like a champ, actually. I felt like Bud Crawford. I should have. But I was so surprised that I didn't even feel it. And I was like, and the only thing I could think of to say was probably the stupidest response was, well, now you got to hit the other side and make it even. And he just lost it. And he didn't hit me again. And then because the guys saw him, were like, whoa, why are you hitting a recruit? So, anyways, what happened was I ended up not telling the coaches about that. And I think what happened was he told the coaches something so to cover his ass, thinking I would tell the coaches, hey, you had someone basically assault me at a party that was on your team. So I think he was covering his butt, but I never told the coaches because I liked North Dakota State and I understood the dude was blackout drunk and it's things happen at a party. So I was like I had no ill will, but I think he ended up telling his coach like, hey, this kid's kind of a piece of shit, or he's causing problems or something because the next day the coach called me after I went home and was like, yeah, I want to, our guys said that maybe you might fit better somewhere else, and so that's the only thing that happened on the trip that was, I got along great with everyone. I was great with everyone that all the whole class that was my age and all the older guys. We were all connecting pretty well. So I think that definitely hurt me, but it's a blessing in disguise because I could have made a terrible decision and went to North Dakota State on a 30% scholarship instead of
a full ride at Colgate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So things work out, and it's a funny story now. I think it's funny.
Yeah, I mean that is pretty funny. He just slaps you right across the face. Yep. Yeah. So Easton, did you play against Easton Stick in high school?
I did.
We're kind of jumping around
everywhere. He was actually one of my hosts on the visit too.
Oh, he was.
Yep. So I've met him a few times. He's a nice guy. He's playing over at the Chargers, I think.
Yeah. Could possibly start this year, if they
that is true.
If they don't pick up a quarterback.
I never really thought about that. But yeah, no, he's a Omaha guy, definitely
prep
talented
kid.
Guy. Prep guy. They actually knocked us out of the playoffs my sophomore year. Him and R.J. Urzendowski, the wide receiver that he had, they knocked us out my sophomore year. So.
Yeah. So I got a couple more things here. You were on the All Patriot League honor roll once. Yeah, once. What was that like for the
for
honor
academics?
Roll?
Yeah, so academics it was interesting for me. I came from being at the public school where I didn't really have to try very hard, and I would get a good, 3.8 GPA, whatever.
Yeah.
I got a good ACT score. Didn't really try hard because because I felt confident in test taking. I thought the teachers prepared me well, and I was in a good enough school system and paid attention enough. But going into college, that's not really how it works. You can't just kind of fly by.
So I know.
My first semester, I think I got something like a 2.2 or something, like 2.3, terrible GPA. I mean, atrocious. And so that was a problem, but eventually I started figuring it out and getting into my major, and I'm happy that I'll graduate with over a 3.3 for my major GPA. My overall GPA will be closer to a 3.0. It'll be right under probably 2.8, 2.9-ish, and which isn't a big deal for employers. Actually, I've been getting pretty deep with conversations with employers, and nobody really asks you your GPA, which completely floored me. But yeah, so that was cool making the academic honor roll that year. I think it was 2017, maybe.
I think it was 2017 for Colgate, and then 2018 for the Patriot League.
Yeah, back to back. Yeah, so that was just me getting in my classes and kind of figuring out. I think that's the biggest thing though. Like when you do anything and you switch, you're gonna fail a little bit at first, unless you're you could be naturally gifted. Go ahead, or you can kind of will yourself to get over that. But I think a lot of us are just get kind of that smack in the face at North Dakota State that I had. That's a smack in the face at school, and I realized hey. Got to kind of step back and be like, how are you being perceived in class, and what can I change? And the biggest part was just showing up to class and acting a little bit more into it,
Yeah.
Not necessarily do you have to read all 100 pages that we're assigned to read, but read a few pages, do your Spark Notes, know what the heck they're saying. Yeah. Show up and say something in class and look like you're engaged, and that's just going to inherently raise your grade. So once I kind of figured out the name of the game, that really helped.
Yeah, and then last part was the Gordon Watson Scout Team Player of the Year.
Oh yeah, So like
what was that like?
That was cool. It was interesting. I didn't have as much on-field success in college as I thought I would when it comes to football, but that is something that I think that I hold near and dear, just because being a scout team player is kind of like the worst of the worst when it comes to like your job. Like you're getting hit by the best players and you're kind of getting them prepared, and it's hard to like will yourself and to get the motivation to do that. And I think that was my sophomore year, and so I think I had a good time doing that. I was going against a couple guys that are in the league now, so I got a lot better, and I just did that's something that speaks to my character and I guess how I am. And also I know I don't want to be that scout team guy anymore. I mean, whatever I had a lot of success in high school and college, not so much on the field, and so now whatever the next phase of my life is, I can look back, be like, all right, maybe here's a couple areas I went wrong, and going forward it's not going to happen again. I know what success is like, and I know what failure is like, and so the thing is within that failure, I think I found success, and I think in my life when I start taking on challenges or take on the next thing, I'm not going to be a bench player again. I'm not going to be that type of guy, and just taking on things with that attitude, I think it's just going to help me in the long run.
Yeah. So I think there's a couple more things I got here. Let's see. 2-time Letterman at Pap South. What was that like when you got your first Letterman? Because that's a big deal to me. That's something I want to get next year.
I mean, that was I think I was a sophomore when I lettered the first time. I'm not sure, but it was. I used to be like so nervous of playing on varsity, and I would have so much success on freshman and JV and stuff, and like I was just nervous because the kids were older and it was just all in my head. And I think that's something that like I tend to do and we tend to do as people. Like we just get in our own heads and we think like these kids are older so they must be better. But I think even as a sophomore I had a few carries and had a few touchdowns and good plays, but I could have even done way better if I would have just let myself release that.
Yeah,
and just say
loose.
Like, look, it doesn't matter how old these kids are. We all bleed the same blood type of deal. And that attitude was instilled within me, but I was always intimidated by them being 3 years older, and I was young for my grade. I'm a late May, basically June baby, so I'm always younger for everything that I was doing. So that kind of hindered me my sophomore year, and then junior year when I figured out like, hey, we all bleed the same blood type of deal. That's kind of when I went crazy and started being just like a physical guy, and so that's something that I think was awesome, but I definitely could have done a lot better too.
Yeah, I mean, some of the highlights I've watched, I know you're from your junior to senior year. It's night and day. One, like you're running hard downfield, and then the next one you're just running 3 guys and bowling them out of the way. I mean, the scout team thing that you talked about, I kind of have that same thing. There's a kid in my school. He squats 500 pounds and he benches almost 400 pounds. The guy's an absolute freak. And I remember one time I had to get him in front of him and I hurt my finger. He went, I got his like thing stuck in the pads or whatever. But I mean, I know you're talking about with the old or like the better thing, bigger and better. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's just all in your head, and that's like, I try to take. We always try to relate sports to real life, and that's something I try to take to my life. Like, in the next phase of my life, it doesn't matter if someone has more experience than me. Obviously, you need to be able to take pointers and listen, but but also you have to believe that you can do things just as good. It doesn't matter if someone's 40 years old and has 20 years experience in this field. Knowledge is knowledge, and you can acquire the same knowledge they have and the same skills they have. And it could take. What took them 20 years could take you 3 years because you could just be a beast at it. Like you really don't know, and you don't know how you get like. I think I give people the benefit of the doubt too much. I think you see whenever I say I go get hired, I've been interviewing at a company called Aon. It's an insurance company. It's a blue chip company. It's a big time company, and so saying I go into there and I got a 35-year-old guy that's mentoring me and doing great. So I can't take that on and say, wow, I hope when I'm 35 I can, do this as well as him. I want to do this as well as him now. And that's like, I don't want to think,
we give him
the benefit of the doubt. We think, oh, he did 10 years of hard work. We don't know this guy. I don't know what he does on his free time. I don't know how hard he works, and I don't know how much, sometimes for a test, for instance, I have a buddy that has to study 4 hours for a test, and I'll have to study an hour because, he sits down for 4 hours and he's on his phone and he's on Facebook while he's studying, and I sit down and cut out all distractions, so my hour is just more efficient. So who looks like they're working harder? If someone asks you how much did you study on this, you say I studied an hour. You ask him how much did you study? Oh, I studied 4 hours. Well, who's really more prepared? His 4 hours of studying is not efficient. My 1 hour of studying is completely efficient. I did it the right way. So I think in that way we got to think in our own minds. We can surpass people. We can do these good things even if that we see people do, and we have to cut out that, oh, they're older, they're more experienced, they're this, they're that. And that's something that I've struggled with and I'm trying to do now. It's like, how, I mean, think of like, political figures or actors and actresses and like famous people. Like, they're people. Like, they're not any better than you and me. There's no way. I refuse to believe that, you can go in a room with, whatever, an actor, and then you can go in a room with a regular person And someone who had no idea who the actor was is just gonna be, wow, this person is so much better and cooler. Like, it's just they're cooler and better because we see them on TV and all edited and it's cool. But
yeah, like
the bottom line is we can do the same things. And
like Kevin Hart. I mean, anybody can be like Kevin Hart except
people
maybe the comedy part.
People are real.
Yeah,
and, like people are real and people got faults. And a lot of times I always think, and it relates back to football, how I would always think, we're playing prep and they're 3 years older than me. Wow, these guys must be so crazy. But really, I didn't look in the mirror and go, well, look at yourself. You're, 5'10", 180. You can run fast. You can do this thing. So why? Like, doesn't matter. And so we see that examples of it doesn't matter all the time, and just recognizing it and applying it to your life. I think that's what I've been trying to do lately as I'm growing up a little bit. So
what do you want to do exactly? I think
eventually I'll be an entrepreneur. I think that's like the dream for everyone.
Yeah.
But like right now I want to acquire the skills and the stability. So right now I'm going to try to build a bank account. I want to build a bank account, and I want to build an investment portfolio and get some stability with a job. I'm interviewing in process for, it's called like a corporate launch program with some insurance company. It's called Aon. So it doesn't sound crazy interesting, but what it does is it introduces you to every aspect of the business. And I think right now, at this point in my life, for the next few years, I'm just focused on increasing my personal capital and my assets that I have, and not necessarily physically, but me as a person. You're only worth as much as you're worth, and that's that sounds dumb, but it's like, what do you bring to the table? And I want to get the most skills to be able to bring the most to the table, because not only will that make me more valuable to my employer, but it makes me just a better person. I guess better in quotes. It makes me a person of utility, I guess. It makes me more a person of skill.
Mm-hmm.
If I can develop, these different aspects. And then, if I don't like the insurance business, which I don't anticipate it's going to be very exciting, but with this program, it's going to teach me all the aspects of business. So maybe I can take what I learned and go to the next field. Go to medical sales, go into something that I do like,
mm-hmm.
or learn things, find a niche, and find you can do things better, and then kind of be an entrepreneur. So I think right now it's all about building my capital and waiting and watching and being ready when the opportunity presents itself to kind of, I guess, go off on my own. Everybody's dream, I believe, inherently is to be self-governed, be your own boss.
Yeah, so, be independent, all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's what I want to do. I want to own my own business.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't? Who wouldn't want to? It's just the people, and people make it seem so hard, but you got to think, how many dumb people are out there? How many people do you think, like, wow, I could actually do that? But and there's a lot of people out there that are like that. You see all these businesses failing, and you see things not going well for people, and then you see things going right for people. It's like, what's the difference? A lot of times there's a small line that's the difference. There's a thin line, but I think we can recognize those differences, and when we pinpoint those, whether that's the genuineness or like the product. I know when it comes to like the restaurant industry, food sells. Like it'll sell itself. There's a little Mexican joint down the street, Lena's or whatever. And that place that does crazy business. It's small. It's super small. It's dirty.
Is that the place on by Ming's?
Yeah, it's not dirty, but it's like it's not nice. It's not it's small. You don't go in. It's like. It's greasy food, but you go there and you get the food, and it's insane. It's crazy food, and it takes you, every time you go there, it takes you 20 minutes to get the food, dude. You go through the drive-thru, and you're sitting there for 15 minutes, and you're like, oh my God. And every time you don't even complain, because every time you get the food, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's
amazing. So it's like, but the point is the quality's there. And so people will
constantly come back.
Like, I will go there because the quality is there. And because also the convenience is there. They're open almost 24 hours. So when you combine those things, you can take aspects, and the proof is in the pudding. The quality is there. People are going to come. And so I think people get so caught up into how am I running my business not well? My business isn't doing well because I'm not running it well.
Why am I not making money?
Why am I not? Yeah, it's like a lot of times I think it's like you got to step back. Is what you're doing better than the competition? Can you really compete with your current model? And Lena's down the street, they can compete because you go 2 streets over and you see La Mesa, and they have nice tables and nice everything, and they got the nicer sit-down place. But I would rather have Lena's food any day. And La Mesa's good, don't get me wrong, but I'd rather have Lena's any day. And so, Lena's is about the same price, but you don't get the amenities, you don't get the waiter service, you don't get all that. But I'm going to pay for Lena's every time. And so, breaking down these concepts and applying them to greater concepts in your life is, I think, that's growth, and that's how we grow. So that's what I'm focused on doing.
Yeah. So Colgate, actually, we're jumping everywhere. I'm jumping everywhere right now. But anyways, I know Colgate, the guy who created Rydell's helmets.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys from Colgate that did big things. Have you ever heard of Super Troopers? Beer Fest, the movies?
Yeah, the movies?
Yeah, so all 4 of the lead guys are all from Colgate. They were all in Beta frat down the street from my Delta Upsilon frat I was in, and yeah, they're all from Colgate. So there's and then the leader, the owner Rydell, yeah, he's from Colgate, and then actually, it's what's the guy from NBC Sports.
The guy who like founded it.
Yeah, I think the guy that owns NBC Sports he's also from Colgate. Mark Murphy, the owner of I think he owns the Packers. He's from Colgate, so we have like a good repertoire of guys from Colgate and girls that are doing big things. We have a couple Congress people. Yeah, we have some people out there doing big things. Colgate alumni network is huge, and I think that's like the biggest thing. People want to help people, and so like I've had a lot of help from alumni just in finding jobs and getting advice like that. And, you know, when you're 18, finding a place to go play football, you don't think about that stuff. But luckily, I had some parents that kind of grounded me and were like, hey, what do you want after football? So I think that's super important. That's definitely something that I don't regret.
So the Rydell, the person who made Rydell, he makes you guys, or he gives you guys like a new helmet every game. What I've been told.
It's not every game, but we do get a lot of helmets. We do get a lot of different helmet combinations, and I think we have some of the best helmets in the game. We have, we won one of the helmet competitions on Rydell's like Twitter account because we have a couple different helmets that are pretty cool. But I think what he does is he when the speed flexes came out, the ones that morphed here.
Those are just insane.
So
I love those.
Those came out. There was like 25 of them made, or 30 of them made total, and like 2 of them were at Colgate. So like that's some privilege that we do get. And then now that's at Colgate we actually have like 20 of them because I mean they're making them now, but that was when their prototype year was like 2 years ago, and so they're making them now. They're commercially available, but we get them a lot now, the form fitted ones. So
that's the one where it's like
laser fitted. It says your name in it, and
it
has your signature on the inside of it. And
does it have like the impact areas?
Yeah,
is that
it's like specifically designed for just you. So it's once you wear it, it's like it's yours.
It's yours for it. Yeah. So I'm all out of stuff. We've got them for about almost 40 minutes now.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, I appreciate the time, man.
Yeah. So. And thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully, I hope with all this stuff that's going around, you used a lot of hand sanitizer before you came in, or else
I did.
Or else I'll be dropping dead here soon.
Yeah.